Blessings to each and everyone. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Well, today I have a very interesting video for you guys. These are some clippings of other videos. A born American citizen received letter from DHS telling them that they have to leave this country, and also were given like 7 days to leave. And some of these people, they are immigration lawyers, while some are just regular citizens of this country. I want you to check this video out, and then we will have a discussion at the end, because there's a lot of questions here need to be asked. And is it that, do we have all the answers? Check it out, and then we'll get into it.
Email from the Department of Homeland Security saying he had to leave the United States even though he's an American citizen.
Phil Martinez Gomez works with a local nonprofit and helps people with immigration cases. He was working late last week when he got something he never expected.
On April 10th, I received an email from the Department of Homeland Security saying notice of termination of parole. I read it. The first line says, you need to leave the country, or something along those lines, right? And I'm just like, what do you mean? I'm born here. I was born in National City.
He showed me his birth certificate that proved he was born here in San Diego County. Aldo also printed out the email from DHS. The first line, it is time for you to leave the United States. He had 7 days. The email went on to say if you do not depart the United States immediately, you will be subject to potential law enforcement actions that will result in your removal from the United States unless you have otherwise obtained a lawful basis to remain here. He knew the email was legit, double-checked the email address, and saw it came from DHS.
Why do you think you received that email?
I believe I received it because I'm an accredited representative, and I represent immigrants, and I advocate for immigrants' rights in the court. I've been doing that for years.
Aldo knows he has the right to be in the United States, but this email is in the back of his mind.
I do get nervous because I don't want to be an error like so many errors that this administration has made. And they have been talking about deporting U.S. citizens. So it is a concern because that means I'm on their radar.
A senior DHS official sent me this statement, which said in part, quote, CBP used the known email addresses of the alien to send notifications. If a non-personal email, such as an American citizen contact, was provided by the alien, notices may have been sent to unintended recipients. CBP is monitoring communications and will address any issues on a case-by-case basis. Aldo isn't aware of any of his clients using his email address. His 7 days to get out of the U.S., according to this notice, just expired, and he's waiting on what to do next.
Why do you feel it's so important to share what happened to you?
Because I feel it's important because I am a U.S. citizen, and if it can happen to me, it can happen to them, to anyone else. But that's why I'm trying to speak out, because I'm not going to live in fear. I'm going to represent my clients still. I'm still going to go to the courtrooms. I'm still going to pass by the ICE offices. Every time I have to go to court, I'm still going to enter detention facilities to represent my clients. But it's all intimidation tactics.
This is the email that Pamela Realist-Saeed received one morning telling her that it was time for her to leave the United States. But the thing is, she wasn't born in another country. She was born right here in Boston. And now she works right here in Tucson on the north side as an immigration attorney.
I'm an Italian-American.
Realist-Saeed received an email saying she needed to leave the country within 7 days because her parole was revoked.
And at first I was like, oh, this is for one of my clients. And I saw it was from CBP, Customs and Border Protection. But then I looked and it was actually only addressed to me.
She says she was baffled as to why they sent this to her.
The .gov, I mean, it showed it was from CBP.
We reached out to Customs and Border Protection, who sent us a statement saying notices may have been sent to unintended participants. For U.S. citizens in the same situation, Realist-Saeed says to ignore the email, and for those who are not citizens, she encourages them to talk to an immigration attorney to learn more.
That there's a true recklessness coming from the government that shows a careless attitude and obviously an intimidating attitude towards our immigrant clients.
She says people should reach out if they have any questions to immigration lawyers.
Received a letter from federal authorities telling her to self-deport because of the expiration of her parole. However, Carmen Bello tells us she's been a U.S. citizen for nearly 20 years and isn't under parole. Bello criticized the Trump administration's process.
Pretty much going by whatever email we have in their parole application, we're going to send the letter. They're not even checking if it's the attorney's email or the applicant email. So I think there's a lot of a lack of responsibility on the department on sending the letters like this.
Bayo says many of her clients also received that same letter. A Customs and Border Protection spokesperson released this statement. You see here, it says, quote, CBP used the known email addresses of the alien to send notifications. If a non-personal email, such as an American citizen contact, was provided by the alien, notices may have been sent to unintended recipients. CBP is monitoring communications and will address any issues on a case-by-case basis. Now, Bayo was the second local attorney to receive a letter like this. Over the weekend, we were the first to break that Nicole Micharoni received an email last Friday from the federal government telling her to leave the country. As we've reported, the 40-year-old is a U.S. citizen and was born in Newton and raised in Sharon.
Anyone have ever seen anything like this happen in this country before? Where born American citizen receive letter telling them that they need to leave this country? Or anyone have ever seen it anywhere across the world before? I don't know. Let me hear what you have to say in the comment section. Let's get to the other rest of the video.
France says when he first got the email, he honestly thought it was spam, but decided to look into it. And that's when he realized he could be in serious danger of being deported.
Do not attempt to remain in the United States. The federal government will find you.
Neenah resident Tom France says he received this email from the Department of Homeland Security last Friday.
What was it? It was like spam. You know,
You thought it was spam?
Yeah, I thought it was spam.
Which said he would be deported after the DHS said they, quote, exercised its discretion to terminate France's parole. But France isn't on parole. He never committed any crime. In fact, he was born in Pennsylvania and has been a U.S. citizen his entire life.
You know, you hear about people being deported routinely in the news now. What if that were me? What would I do? Well, that email prompted me into that mode right away. What would I do?
France says he's now spent the past 7 days working with Senator Tammy Baldwin and the Department of Homeland Security to make sure they both know he's here legally.
If by chance this was, you know, a mistake that compounded and there were people knocking at the door saying, you haven't left the country, you were supposed to leave the country at least 7 days ago.
And while he believes he's in the clear, he's still keeping an eye out for any more messages accidentally sent to him.
They indicated to me that they knew that not everybody who was an intended recipient had email. And so they would be following up by sending letters out, and that if I by chance got one of those letters, I needed to get back in touch with Senator Baldwin's office immediately.
France also told me that the Department of Homeland Security has apologized profusely for the error, but he's still frustrated that it even happened in the first place.
Thanks, Ryan. Now to an NBC Connecticut exclusive. A Cromwell woman left stunned tonight after getting an email from the federal government telling her to leave the country. But she says she was born a U.S. citizen and has never been in trouble with the law.
It is time for you to leave the United States. That's the first sentence Lisa Anderson saw in an email she got from the Department of Homeland Security Friday.
The language seems pretty threatening to whoever it might actually apply to.
She thought it was spam at first, but the email was very real after Anderson had it vetted. What created confusion is that Anderson, who's a physician and lives in Cromwell, was born in Pennsylvania and is a U.S. citizen.
I really have no idea how my email ended up on that list unless someone else was using that as a false email.
She now carries her passport on the advice of attorneys and is looking for representation from an actual immigration attorney worried about legal repercussions, something she never thought she would ever need.
I don't have anything to do with immigration, and I never thought that I would be in need of the services of an immigration attorney either, and that's where I find myself.
This comes just days after 2 Boston immigration attorneys got the same email from DHS despite being U.S. citizens themselves. A senior DHS official telling our sister station, NBC Boston, that Customs and Border Protection has been sending these emails to people who do not have lawful status in the U.S., saying, quote, if a non-personal email, such as an American citizen contact, was provided by the alien, notices may have been sent to unintended recipients. CBP is monitoring communications and will address any issues on a case-by-case basis. Anderson is warning anyone who may have gotten the emails to take them seriously and get legal help.
It does make me concerned. There's a lot more people out there like me who probably also thought this was spam, who probably don't realize that they might have a problem.
All right, for these immigration lawyers who have received the letter from DHS, at first they thought it was like a scam, maybe it was like a joke. That's how they were seeing it, knowing that they have dealt with many clients, so they thought it was maybe for one of their clients, etc. But when they look carefully, they notice it is their name that is on that letter, and they even check to see, and they realize the address and the name, it is coming from DHS. Now, what is really going on in the country, all of this is concerned? Is it that they are intimidating the citizens of this country? What is really going on? Because these lawyers, they are immigration lawyers, where they try to help those of illegal immigrants getting their documents and paper together. Is it a case that even people who already begin their process of becoming a permanent resident of this country, or even for those who looking forward to become a citizen, is it that people like these may also receive a letter from DHS to say you have to leave the country while you are in the process of looking about your documents? Is it a case that they just want to get rid of all immigrants out of this country? And I know for sure there are immigrants in the White House as well. What is really going on in this country at this time? Because born American receiving letter telling them to leave the country, where should they go? Is it that everyone need to be deported to Venezuela? What is really going on? There's a lot of questions that is asking. And still not many answers. But even one of those persons, they said like when they reach out to Homeland Security, they also apologize for sending them letter stating that they should leave. Maybe it was intended for an immigrant, but instead of they send it to the immigration lawyer. It is very scary at this point in time, because a lot of people are going through a whole lot. A lot of people, they are trying to get their stuff together. And if things like this is going on, then even for people with a green card, already waiting for their time so they can apply to become a citizen, it seems like not even people like these are safe. There's just a lot going on in the world right now. And, people were looking and saying, but it is not just America. Things are happening. Things are happening all over the world. What is really going on? Now, in this case, what should people really do at this time? Because everyone get nervous. So, what if a naturalization citizen receive a letter like this? What should such a person do? Then they will say, if you receive a letter like this, get in contact with a lawyer or with DHS to see or find out what exactly is going on. Because if a person married to someone and become a citizen, or parent file for their children and they already become a citizen, them receive a letter like this, how should they proceed? So there is a lot is on the table, and a lot of people right now being panicked, don't know exactly what to do. But one thing I will say, reach out to your lawyer. If you receive a letter like this, let them know so they can proceed as that legal person to check and give you proper information and proper guidance on what is going on. So for everyone, if you receive a letter like this, reach out to your lawyer, let them know, check it out. Don't think it's a scam, don't think it's a joke. It's best you go ahead, check it out from early before they show up at your door and say you will be deported, because clearly a lot of people are being get deported out of the country, and they also have court hearing of legal documents in that section. It is what it is right now. So I don't really want to make this video too long. So I will just end it right here. Let me hear what your thoughts in the comment section about all of this and what is going on and what other people should do if they receive a letter like this. So we'll leave it right here. And as we always say, if it ain't green, it ain't weed. Yes, sir.